You haven't been in real silence in years, not even once. When was the last time you sat somewhere with no music, no podcast, no notification humming in your pocket? Most people can't answer that question. Not because silence is rare, but because you've trained yourself to fill every quiet moment with something, just to keep the emptiness from creeping in. As author Johann Hari wrote, your attention didn't collapse, it was stolen from you. And he's right. There is an entire economy, worth billions of dollars, built on one simple goal, making sure you never ever sit still long enough to think for yourself. It starts the moment you open your eyes each morning. Before your feet even touch the floor, your hand is already reaching for the screen. Emails, messages, headlines, a flood of other people's words pouring into your mind before you've had your first original thought of the day. The average person now spends 6 hours and 40 minutes staring at a screen every single day. 6 hours and 40 minutes of constant input, constant noise, constant consumption. That's nearly half your waking life spent absorbing other people's thoughts instead of having your own. And the cost is something you barely even notice. Because it happens so gradually, so quietly, like water heating around you, degree by degree by degree. By the time you realize something is terribly wrong, you've been boiling for years, and you've forgotten what cool water even feels like. And here is the number that should stop you cold. The average person picks up their phone nearly 200 times a day. 200 times. Once every 5 minutes you're awake. Not because you need to, but because the quiet between those moments has become genuinely unbearable. And you don't even question it anymore. It's just what modern life looks like. Wake up, plug in, consume, scroll, sleep, repeat. An endless loop of input with no space for output. The silence between those moments has been completely, systematically erased. And no one even noticed what was lost. Over 300 years ago, a French mathematician named Blaise Pascal wrote something that still cuts to the bone. He said, all of humanity's problems stem from man's inability to sit quietly in a room alone. 300 years ago, no smartphones, no social media, no algorithms feeding you content every waking second. And still he saw it. This deep, ancient human instinct to run from quiet, because silence does something terrifying that noise never will. It strips away every distraction and forces you to meet yourself. And most people aren't ready for that meeting. And the noise is not just stealing your attention, it is actively harming your body. The World Health Organization reported that noise pollution alone costs Western Europe 1.5 million healthy life years every single year. 1.5 million years of human health destroyed, not by warfare, not by famine, just by noise. Your body was never designed for this. Your nervous system evolved in a world of long silences, broken only by birdsong or wind. Now it treats constant noise like a physical threat. Cortisol rises, blood pressure climbs. Your brain stays in emergency mode all day long. But here's what nobody tells you. The thing you're running from is exactly what could save you. In 2013, neuroscientist Imke Kerste at Duke University found that just 2 hours of silence per day triggered the growth of brand new brain cells in the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for memory, emotion, and learning. Not music, not white noise, only silence caused new neurons to grow. Let that sink in. As if the brain had been waiting, starving, for the noise to finally stop. As if silence itself was the signal your mind needed to begin healing. What if the emptiness you've been running from all this time is actually the most powerful neurological reset you have access to? And this is not some fringe discovery. The science has been building for decades. From the earliest sensory deprivation studies in the 1950s, to the discovery of the default mode network in 2001, to Kerste's neurogenesis study in 2013, the evidence keeps pointing in one direction. Your brain needs silence to regenerate. Deep inside your brain is something called the default mode network. It only activates when you stop consuming, stop producing, stop scrolling. And it is not idle, it is integrating everything you've experienced, connecting memories, processing emotions, solving problems you didn't know you were carrying. But it can only do this profound work in silence. And after just 3 days of intentional silence, researchers found that brainwaves shift dramatically from fast, high alert beta waves to slower, deeper alpha and theta waves. The same patterns found in experienced meditators, the same patterns linked to creativity, insight, and deep inner calm. In other words, your brain already knows how to heal. It already knows how to find peace. You don't need to teach it anything new. You just need to give it the one thing it has been begging for: permission to be quiet. The great Vietnamese Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh spent his lifetime teaching one truth. He wrote, "Silence is something that comes from your heart, not from outside." It doesn't mean not talking and not doing things. It means that you are not disturbed inside. That is the real silence, not what surrounds you, but what lives within you. That is the deepest kind of silence the monks understood. Not the absence of sound, but the presence of yourself. The willingness to sit with who you really are, unedited, unfiltered, without reaching for a distraction, without running from the quiet voice inside that's been trying to speak to you for years. And all around the world, people are beginning to remember this ancient truth. From silent retreat centers across Japan, Thailand, and India, to the growing quiet hours movement in cities across Europe and North America. In a world drowning in noise, millions are choosing to step back into silence. You don't need a monastery. You don't need a retreat. Just 5 minutes of nothing. No phone, no music. Just you, breathing, in a quiet room, because the silence you've been avoiding is not empty. It never was. It is full of everything you've been too busy to feel, too distracted to hear, too afraid to face. It is full of you, and it has been waiting. All you have to do is stop and listen.